Most people don't actually want money. They think they do. They think money will solve most all of their problems. They want what they believe money will finally allow them to feel: freedom, validation, safety, and self-worth. And all things being equal, money's always good to have. But the mistake is the focus on it, because money doesn't create meaning. Meaning creates a life that money can then attach to. When you reverse that order in your mind, in your unconscious autopilot, which is what really drives your life, with that you can spend your entire life chasing something important, something that will lead to true happiness and satisfaction. And that's what we're going to drill down on today. And I hope nail it for you once and for all. When someone doesn't have a clear sense of purpose and a drive toward meaning, money becomes a substitute, and it becomes the stand-in for direction. So you end up chasing numbers. You chase monetary success. You chase the idea of more, the next material level. And even when your income does increase, something strange happens. Your fulfillment in life doesn't actually scale to it. That feeling of meaning doesn't really grow, but the feeling of not enough does. Inevitably, you want more, and that usually translates into more stuff, more material things that will make you happy, or so you think it will. Because money was never meant to be the center of your life. It will never alone make you happy. When money becomes the organizing principle, it can never really satisfy you, because it was never meant to answer that question. I've talked a lot over the years about this idea of creating an organizing principle around your life, and this is a very important thing to do. And if you don't have one, for most, that becomes money. Chasing the buck, as I've called it. Let me ask you something. How many real-life moments have you had in your life? Not accomplishments, not milestones on paper or things that advanced you in your career, but moments where time actually slowed down. Epiphanies, peak experiences, where you were fully present, where time slowed down and something inside you quietly said, "This matters. This is important to me." Most people can count them on one hand. For me, one of those moments just happened the other day. I was sitting on my backyard deck at home, and a deer walked out of the trees and stood just a few feet away. We locked eyes, no movement, no urgency, and 6 minutes went by, and she then ignored me and went on eating the grass. Nothing productive happened. Nothing was even accomplished. And yet I was more present, more alive than I am doing most of the things that people spend most of their lives chasing. Another moment was sitting on a dock with my wife at sunset, our feet dangling in the water. No phones, no agenda, just light hitting the water and stillness. A moment so quiet that you could hear the ducks paddling in the water. Connection with each other and an amazing beauty in life that was all around us. Those are the real moments. And here's what matters about them. They're not random. They don't happen by accident. They happen when your attention, your effort, and your meaning all align. If your emotional state isn't ready to see and experience it, well, it's just a deer eating grass or a lake with ducks. You miss the point of the experience, right? Coco Chanel, the famous perfumer and designer, once said, "The best things in life are free, and the second best cost a lot." How true is that? When you're in a real moment, that blissful peak experience state, your nervous system recognizes that alignment instantly. And that's why those moments stay with you. That's why you remember them decades later. Those moments are your body telling you this matters. And here's the part most people never consider. If your entire life is organized around money, you reduce the probability of those moments happening. If your life is organized around meaning, contribution, and presence, well, those moments become more available. And at the end of your life, This is the real currency of a life that's well lived. People love to say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. But that line gets misunderstood. It doesn't mean work becomes easy, and it doesn't mean effort is less. It means that your effort finally makes sense. It's aligned with your nature and the experience of doing what love gives back, which is meaning every single day. When your work expresses what you value, the effort feels purposeful instead of draining. Then you're on the path of a true human being. Your experiences are strung together like a necklace of pearls that you collect that each day passes. That's the value you really embrace, not how many deals you did. Here's what I want you to take away from all of this. A well-lived life is organized around a few core things: meaningful contribution, growth and mastery over what you do and what you offer in your work, and moments that feel real. When you organize your life this way, money naturally shifts roles. It becomes a support system, not the driver. And this is how it should be. And you'll feel the difference on a daily basis. But what if I don't have a mission? At this point in the conversation, a lot of people say, but what if I don't know my purpose? I don't have a mission. I feel lost most of the time. And if I made more money, I'd be able to afford more time to go after those real moments. Well, after studying people my entire life, I've discovered most people aren't lost so much as they are untrained and unskilled at understanding how to operate their lives. Purpose isn't discovered sitting still and waiting for it to appear. It's revealed through engagement, through feedback, through movement. You don't find your mission by waiting. You find it by walking around, bumping into others and seeing what was there that you just couldn't see before. You pay attention to what holds your focus, to problems that you can't ignore, to work that leaves you energized instead of depleted. You don't rearrange your income first. You rearrange your days and your experience of them. And here's how to do that. You rearrange what you give your attention to, what you say yes to, what you allow to drain you without return. And when you do that, something changes. You stop feeling lost, not because you suddenly have all the answers, but because you're finally in motion. And direction begins to emerge the same way it always does in a life that's well lived, from experience. And once meaning starts leading, then money finally takes its proper place. Which brings us back to the truth about money. Because you're no longer chasing whatever pays the fastest, your decisions get cleaner. You stop saying yes out of fear or doing things that don't matter. The pressure begins to drop, not because life gets any easier, but because your direction and your choices are clearer now. That shift alone actually changes everything. It doesn't guarantee wealth, and that's not the point. But it creates something far more reliable, a sustainable prosperity. And this is the most satisfying thing of all. And here's the part most people misunderstand. You don't start with money and how to make it and hope that meaning shows up later in your life. You start by understanding what actually matters to you, what holds your attention, what feels worthy of your effort, and what produces those rare moments when life feels real. And then patiently, deliberately, you weave a way for the money to flow through that instead of against it. For me personally, I've made several fortunes and I've lost them. And every time I pursued money over my purpose, it was never satisfying. When it was a means to an end, it turned out fine. But when it was the direct consequence of my mission and purpose, well, that's when the stars aligned and it all really was just perfect. And that's the sequence. And when you reverse it, the money ends up owning you. It dictates your time, your choices, and who you become. When you honor the sequence, the money supports you. It becomes a tool, a resource, not a master. And it responds to value built on purpose. And once you see that clearly, money stops being the thing that you're running toward. It becomes something that follows, quietly, surely, as you build a life that actually makes sense to live. If you build a life around what truly matters, money stops being the first question you wake up with. You don't wake up in a panic ever again. Not because the need for money disappears, but because it no longer defines you. And that's when your work becomes a calling. Not because it's easy or every day feels inspired, but because your time is being spent on something that matters. Your life is pointed in a direction that you respect. And here's the truth that most people miss. Understanding this intellectually is not enough. This requires learning how to restructure how you see yourself, how you decide what matters, and how you build systems that make this way of living sustainable, even when life gets difficult. And that's what we teach inside Zygon Academy and provide the tools to achieve. Not motivational speeches, not hype, but real tools and skills. Because when your life is organized correctly, clarity follows. And the real moments add up. And the money, it takes its proper place. Discover this for yourself. And I'll see you on the inside.